everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be talking to you today about the first part of January and the new moon in Capricorn that we have on the 12th or 13th, depending on where in the world you live. Now, I've recently made a video called Thoughts about 2021, and I'll put the link for that below, because that really was just me meandering through some bigger context, if you like, for this year. So the more detailed updates I'm going to be doing through the year really fit into that context. So here talking about more of the detail of the first part of January, but just in general, 2021 is going to be a very different year in energy to 2020, and that may make you sigh with relief, because as we're well aware, 2020 was very contracted, controlled, slow, dense, very, very tough for pretty much everybody in some way. It was an extraordinarily hard year. 2021 is different. It's going to be much faster moving, in a way less stable, because we're moving from Earth to air. Two of the planets that were in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn, now moved into Aquarius, air, and that it's ether, it's wind, so that creates less stability, but it frees things up to move quickly. And in general, 2021 is going to be full of surprises, revelations, awakenings, shocks, etc. But it's a much more rebellious year, much more revolutionary year than 2020 for sure. So let's get into the detail. On the 4th of January, Mercury comes to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto in Capricorn is in this long-running square to Eris in Aries. That square between Eris and Pluto is going to continue until October 2021. So that's one of the signatures that's telling me that there's going to be a lot more social unrest during this coming year. Now, as I've spoken many times, Eris was the sister of Mars. She is known as the female awakener. She wasn't invited, in myth, she wasn't invited to a very big and important wedding, so she kind of kicked off and created mayhem. So the myth is associated with people who don't feel acknowledged in society, don't feel heard, don't feel their needs are being appreciated, and they take to the streets. And they're even in fact in 2020, when this square's been going on, there have been huge riots and protests in many places across the world. You may not have seen them because they're not generally covered on mainstream news, but so this square is strong here. It's joined by Mercury on the 4th, so it's angry words. Angry words either being spoken by people in leadership or people within your own personal sphere. So, and the issues tend to be about freedom, independence, and autonomy of the individual, because that's the Eris side of it. But whatever is happening at this time, there's going to be a lot of awakening all through the year. January is a key month in that. January and February are in pretty intense months of chaotic and volatile energy. January probably wins the prize for that. It is probably the most intense. But remember that we have to break down to break through to get us to a better place. And that's what all of this process is about. So however uncomfortable it feels to be living in a building site, it's necessary to get us to a whole much more loving world that we're moving towards. And indeed, that new Earth grid has already been established on the Earth. So that is on the 4th. And then on the 10th, we have Eris moving stationary direct. Now, Eris has a 560-year orbit, so it moves very slowly anyway, but when planets are changing direction, they just grind to a standstill completely. It's like a big ship, a big liner turning around, it just goes slower and slower. So it is moving stationary direct on at 23 degrees of Aries on the 10th of the month. You may feel that if you have any planets or angles around about 23 degrees of the cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. And this could be an important period of awakening too. Now, this is coming just 4 days before another planet which is moving stationary direct, which I'll talk about in a moment. But moving on to the 6th of January, Mars, which has been in its warrior sign of Aries for over 6 months, on the 6th moves into Taurus. Now, normally that would be very stabilizing because Taurus is fixed Earth. However, it is coming to conjunct Uranus, and it is conjunct Uranus really for the whole month. And it's exact in this conjunction Mars-Uranus on the 20th, and that of course is a very important day, inauguration day in America. This is the signature for earthquakes, volcanoes, extremely eruptive, sudden eruptive energy. So let us see what happens then, but it's really operational for the entire month. So Mars moves in on the 6th. Also, 3 days later, Mercury moves into Aquarius and Venus moves into Capricorn. So we've got, within the period of 3 or 4 days, we've got those 3 personal planets changing signs. So again, this feeling of changing energy over a very short period of time. Now let's talk about the new moon, which is happening on the 12th of January. It's happening at 9 p.m. Pacific, and it's happening at 5 a.m. UK time the next day. This is happening at 23 degrees and 13 minutes of Capricorn. So this is very close indeed. It's less than half a degree away from the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that we had in Capricorn on the 12th of January last year. So is this a repeat of that? No, it isn't a repeat, because we've got, remember, more planets that have moved into Aquarius, so it's not a repeat, but it is a kind of, I think, how far have we got? It's a kind of reality check, because Capricorn is to do with your mastery. How well have we mastered our emotions? And how have we survived? We're still here. But how well have we mastered our emotions through 2020? It's also, I think, very much about looking forwards to the future. Capricorn is the past and the Aquarian planets are the future. But because this is the first new moon of the year, it's not only a very good idea to set a new intention for what you want in your life and see where this falls in your chart, to see how that intention should be worded, which house area it's falling in for you. And if you don't know where it's falling, check out this link above. You can download a free birth chart from my website, and then if you go to this link, you can get 2 videos that explain very clearly what every update I do means for you at a deeper level. But so it isn't just about setting a new intention for you, because it's the first new moon of the year. I believe this is much more important because we're moving into a whole new era, a whole new age now. And it reminded me, when I was writing my newsletter for my subscribers, I was reminded many years ago when I was 21, I'd just finished university, and I decided to emigrate to Canada. I had $100 in my pocket, knew no one in Canada, big adventure, way before the days of mobile phones, etc., and that kind of connection. And I remember thinking on the plane between London and Toronto, who do I want to be? When I land in that new society, that new country, nobody knows me, it's completely anonymous. Who am I going to step into? How am I going to introduce myself? Who am I going to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Another hologram, if you like, to step into. And this is a great opportunity to do just that, because it isn't just another new moon, it isn't just the beginning of a year, it's actually the beginning of a whole new era of moving towards that new Earth. And as I say, the grids for the new Earth are already there. We just have to shift our frequency. We don't have to get on a plane and go anywhere. We just have to shift our frequency. So really think in a bigger way about this. Stepping into a new hologram of you that is higher frequency, that is about unconditional love and being anchored in the heart. Also think about a new vision for a better world that you would like to bring in as well. Great time to do this. So at this new moon, Eris is now not only squaring Pluto, but also the Sun and Moon, because the Sun and Moon are very tightly conjunct Pluto here. So big themes about power, people in power, power structures, and Eris coming in to challenge them. So this is very, very strong. But in fact, this is a T-square, because Haumea, that wonderful dwarf planet, linked to the Hawaiian goddess of fertility, linked to rebirth, linked to regeneration of the earth, wonderful promise of the feminine and rebirth for the earth and for all of us. So this T-square is a combination of the demolition of the old power structures and power struggles coming to light at this time, but also reminding us as the old collapses, the new is being birthed. Now, this new moon chart is absolutely crackling with tension. Every single planet is in a square to another planet, or in the case of Neptune, to the nodal axis. Every single one. It's extraordinary. So, we talked about this square between Eris and Sun, Moon, Pluto. We also have several planets involved, a lot of fixity in this chart as well. And fixity with squares can be quite intractable. People with one set of views against people with another set of views. But we have, firstly, we have not only Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, we also have Mercury. In fact, Jupiter is at the midpoint of Mercury-Saturn. So this is about the new humanitarian vision for the future needs to be realistic, Saturn, and being built for the long term. So it's very, very positive symbolism. So these three planets, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, in Aquarius, are square to Mars, Uranus, Black Moon, Lilith in Taurus. And this little trio in Taurus they're pretty feisty. They're a pretty unruly trio. None of them really want to obey the rules, particularly not man-made rules. I mean, Black Moon Lilith is very in tune with natural law, but doesn't have much respect for man-made law. She's the instinctive feminine as well, more feminine energy coming in here. But they are impulsive. They can be quite, as I say, quite angry and volatile. And in this square, they are really demanding freedom and truth as part of this new humanitarian vision. Freedom and truth have to be part of that going forwards. So that is really quite exciting. Now, I think there's, together with the strong Uranus, strong Aquarian energy at this time, I think a lot is going to come to light. I mean, all through 2021, a lot is going to come to light. Excuse me. A lot is going to come to light, but there could be some real shocks and surprises even in this first month of the year. And that long-running square between Neptune and the nodal axis becomes exact later on in January, but it's getting closer and closer. And as we've spoken about, this is what's true and what's not. What can I trust? What can I believe? It can cause confusion if a lot of your old belief systems, South Node in Sagittarius, are being rocked and are crumbling. You can feel very disoriented, you can feel confused, and the solution is really to reach out to source, to shift to a higher level of being. But temporarily, you may actually feel as if the veil has been pulled off what you thought was reality, and that's turned out to be a big illusion. So be aware of that and know that the solution is to move to a higher level of being, whether it's just immersing yourself in music or dance or nature, to really bring yourself back to a sense of anchoring. And the heart is the big anchor through 2021, as I say. So 4 days after Eris has gone stationary direct, Uranus moves stationary direct. And this is very significant as well. Uranus is the planet of revolution, of rebellion, of awakening, of earthquakes of various kinds. And that is at 6 degrees the whole of January. And it moves stationary direct at 6:43 of Taurus. It's on that degree all month, as I say, on the 14th of the month. We will feel these big stations of these slow-moving planets about a week to either side. It isn't just the exact day, you'll feel them about a week to either side. So this, again, can produce another wave of truth, shock, surprise, etc. And this new moon is going to be particularly important in the US, and people give me a hard time because I always seem to be talking about the US. But that US chart, I use the 4th of July, 1776, 1710 Philadelphia, is being very activated right now. Because this new moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto, US Pluto, which is in the second house of the economy. Now, many of you may know that the US is experiencing what's called a Pluto return. Pluto is gradually coming back to its so-called natal place from 1776. That's going to be exact in 2022, but we're well in the process of that. This is about a rebirth of America. And because this new moon is so close to it, at 23 of Capricorn, the US Pluto is at 27 of Capricorn, this is going to be another stepping stone, another piece in the puzzle of that much, much bigger context of the rebirth of America, which is going to happen exactly next year. But we're in it now. This is part of the process of the rebirth of America. So see it in a very positive way. Also in the US chart, transiting Pluto is opposing US Mercury. That's been running for a little while, will continue all of this year. And Mercury in the US chart rules foreign relations, so we could see some transformation in relations with other countries. Also, Mercury in a country's chart is about the media and social media and other forms of communication, news within that country. And indeed, actually, because it's America, it's global as well. So this is going to be very important for that country too. But often the reason I'm talking so much about America is I think whatever is going to unfold there this month is going to have a much bigger effect on the rest of the world than it normally would, than any US election normally would. I still think we have more to see in this US election. I don't think it'll go perfectly smoothly from all the way through. And whatever unfolds from it will affect the rest of the world. And that's why I often refer to it. So, no, it's going to be much more exciting. Know it's going to be fast moving, and know that your heart is the anchor for yourself. That's the best place to come back to when on the external things are moving very quickly. Another thing about this new moon in Capricorn is Sun, Moon conjunct Pluto are where is your power center? Is your frame of reference? Do you give your power away to the external? Do you believe that external authorities have power over you? Or are you your own internal power reference? You look inwards for your sovereignty. You look inwards for your own sense of power. And that is really important, I think, as we go through this year. But it's very exciting. We really are on a path now, and over the coming months and years, we're moving closer and closer to a very, very different world. But that we're already at the beginning. It started. We're in it, and so try and feel the excitement of that and ride the wave of change. It's going to be hard to stay with the old. Try and release attachment. That's another thing I'd say with all these planets in square in fixity. Let the old go. Whatever the old is, relationships, job, home, whatever the old represents to you, you will find it easier if you let the old go and just flow with the new opportunities that are coming in for you, which may be so much better than you can possibly imagine. So I hope that's helped you. If you'd like more information about my books, my teaching videos, my ever so long monthly newsletter, I seem to get longer every month, then just check out my website, pamgregory.com. And may I wish you very happy New Year and all blessings in this amazing year of 2021. And remember, we are all in this together, holding hands digitally and spiritually. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.